Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday to all you freaks out there. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money, and there is no better day than Freaky Friday to go ahead and make some money. Guys, today's Freaky Friday, which of course means we have our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. Now, I'll be honest, it's a little tricky to go ahead and build a 5-leg parlay on this Freaky Friday when there's only one game. We have Warriors-Rockets Game 6 tonight in Golden State. A little trickier when you only have one game, but I still think I pulled it off and found some pretty good value in this parlay. Now, typically Freaky Friday, I like to do legs parlays with plus 500 odds or higher. Today, it's not going to be that high because, again, we had to kind of bend the rules a little bit to fit all these legs from a single game. Still a ton of value though. I think it's plus 400, so we're a little bit less than what I normally would do on Freaky Friday. Nonetheless, still a ton of value in today's parlay. And like I do every single Freaky Friday, guys, comment Freaky down below. And if today's parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. We do it every single Friday here in the video series, both on NBA and MLB. Very simple, very easy. Just comment Freaky down below. And like I said, if the parlay hits, I will pick one lucky commenter to win a free $25 Amazon gift card. And speaking of giveaways, we do have a winner from yesterday's giveaway. Shout out to Predator Silver for winning the May 1st, the Calo giveaway, whatever you want to call it, really. Our giveaway contest we ran yesterday. Predator Silver, you have won a free $25 Amazon gift card. So congratulations to you. And like he said, may the force be with us all in all of our bets. All right, before we dive in, one last thing, quick little recap of how I did last night. And guys, the cold spell sort of continues here. Our May ladder challenge failed to launch, couldn't get off the ground. 3-leg parlay plus 153 on FanDuel, only one leg hit. Jamal Murray over 4.5 assists. Zubac did not come through for us. And James Harden, who I took a lot of shots at yesterday, made fun of him, called him Houdini. Of course, he shut me up and scored 28 points last night, forcing a Game 7 against the Nuggets. So pretty impressive performance from him, I got to be honest. But yeah, lost last night. I think we're due for a hit here. We need a hit here tonight, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into today's Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay that I'm feeling very confident about. So we're jumping right into the outlier screen here, guys. And like I said, we only have one game to go off of, this Rockets-Warriors Game 6, 9 p.m. tip-off. Our first leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're going Şengün of the Houston Rockets over 8.5 rebounds. Yes, these are all alternate lines, and we are using FanDuel for today's parlay. All these are pretty well juiced, including this one, minus 260 over on FanDuel for this player prop, but being alternate lines, the data is going to be very solid across the board. For example, 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 9.7 rebounds per game over his last 10 games. You want to go ahead and stretch the data out to the entire season view. For Şengün, a 73% hit rate on this over, including playoffs, 59 out of 81 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 10.38 rebounds per game this year. So pretty good numbers across the board here for Şengün. To be a little more specific, the last 5 games, aka all 5 games of this series versus the Golden State Warriors, he's cashed the over. So that's very good. 100% hit rate in this series coming into Game 6 tonight, averaging 11 rebounds per game against Golden State in this series. And looking down below, he's averaging about 17.4 rebound chances per game, playing about 36 minutes. Everything you kind of want to see for a bet like this. And from an overall head-to-head perspective, 10 of his last 12 matchups with the Golden State Warriors, including playoffs, he's cashed the over. It's an 83% hit rate, averaging 10.75 rebounds per game. He's cashed this in 10 of his last 11, dating back to last year with the Golden State Warriors. Really good numbers across the board here. Actually, I think he's cashed it. Let's see how many games this year. These two teams are very, very familiar with each other. They've played each other 10 times this year, including playoffs, and they've cashed the over in 9 out of 10 games. You see here, November 2024, all the way through today, up to today, I should say. So really impressive stuff there. Like I said, 10 times they played. It's very familiar with each other. In 9 of those 10 games, he cashed the over. The one time he missed it by 1 rebound back on December 5th. So a 90% hit rate this year with a pretty healthy sample size against the Warriors, who versus centers this year, bottom 5 in the NBA in rebounds allowed. So really good matchup across the board. Love this as the first leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, next up, our second leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're going to Jalen Green of the Rockets under 21.5 points plus assists, minus 270 odds over on FanDuel. Very juiced. I took something similar, I think, when I looked at game 5 for the Warriors Rockets. I took a very similar player prop, fading Jalen Green. Now, the overall data is actually going to be bad here because he had a pretty solid year. He had just a 40% hit rate on this under overall this year. The regular season was very kind to Jalen Green. The playoffs thus far, however, not so much. 4 out of 5 games in this series, he's cashed the under, averaging just 17.8 points plus assists per game across the 5 games in this series. Now, game 2, he had a massive performance, so we do know that he can go off against this Warriors team. Game 2, he had 38 points and 6 assists. However, in the other 4 games, he's come nowhere close to the line. Even look at the most recent game. 11 points and 2 assists. 8 points and 1 assist. I mean, he's just not scoring. And as a result, we've seen his minutes drastically decrease. You saw a little bit of an increase there from game 1 to 2 to 3. And then games 4 and 5, he's played less than 30 minutes in both of these games. But more importantly, look at the shot attempts. Game 2, he had 25 shot attempts. Since then, 11, 8, and 8. And he's not shooting well. 3 for 8, 3 for 8, 4 for 11. He's not shooting well at all. He's shooting just 39% from the floor in this series. Not very good. Also, not shooting the best from the free throw line either. Just 60% from the free throw line. You expect better from him in that category. But his struggles against Golden State go beyond just this series. Looking at the overall head-to-head data, 10 of his last 13 matchups with the Warriors, he's cashed the under. That is, of course, a 77% hit rate, averaging 17.46 points plus assists per game across the last 13 matchups with Golden State. So really good head-to-head data here. Large sample size as well. He's had his big games. Game 2, to be exact, was his biggest game to date against the Warriors in the last 2 years. Some close, narrow cashes on the over. I think the under is the right play here. I just think this is a tough spot, especially on the road. Game 6, do-or-die game. The Warriors defense, they are a really solid defensive team. I just don't see Jalen Green being the guy to carry Houston in this one. I think an under bet here for him is probably the right move. All right, guys, on our third leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're going Fred VanVleet of the Rockets. A lot of Rockets-heavy players here in this parlay. Fred VanVleet over 16.5 points plus assists, minus 270 over on FanDuel. Again, pretty juiced odds there. Data is solid, though. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 18.4 points plus assists per game over the last 10. Overall this year, a 62% hit rate on the over, 40 out of 65 games, including playoffs. He's cashed the over, averaging 19.72 points plus assists per game overall this year. And narrowing it down to the head-to-head data here, 7 of his last 12 matchups with the Golden State Warriors, including playoffs, he's cashed the over. That's, of course, a 58% hit rate, averaging 17.92 points plus assists per game over the last 12 matchups with Golden State. Now, if we go ahead and narrow it down to just this series, 4 of the 5 games in this series, VanVleet has cashed the over 80% hit rate, averaging 21 points plus assists per game against Golden State here in the series. But what I'm very interested in is the fact that the last couple of games, VanVleet has stepped up for Houston in a big way. You see games 4 and 5 here. Some big performances, 25 points and 6 assists in game 4, 26 points and 2 assists in game 5. Even game 3, 17 points and 3 assists. You're seeing his role and his prominence in this offense increase because somebody needs to take over for Houston. Obviously, it's not Jalen Green, who's struggled mightily in this series. Somebody's got to step up from a scoring perspective, and it's kind of been VanVleet, who's averaging 7.6 potential assists per game across this 5-game series. He's averaging almost 40 minutes per game. Game 5, he only played 33 minutes because the game was basically over with fairly early on there. So, lowest minutes played, but he's playing about 40 minutes per game in this series, so plenty of volume. And you just see the shot attempts. I mean, he's shooting the ball decent, 40%. I wouldn't say decent, 40%. He started off ice cold. That first game really destroys his numbers there, 4 for 19 in game 1. But I want to focus on the last 3 games where you've seen some cashes here. Now, game 3, 5 for 14, not great, but games 4 and 5, 62%. Both games he shot 8 for 13. So really, you take those first 2 games where he just was not shooting the ball well, he actually has been shooting the ball a lot better, over 50% across his last 3 games. So he's been better. He's taking, I wouldn't say more shots. Obviously, game 1, he had 19 shot attempts. He just is playing a lot more consistently. He's shooting the ball pretty well the last couple of games. You know, they've kind of looked to him to be the go-to guy. The three-point shooting's been solid as well, 38% from three-point range. So pretty good numbers across the board here for VanVleet. And Golden State, look, they're a solid defensive team, especially versus the point guard position. Number 1 scoring defense against point guards this year. But the data doesn't lie. He's got a pretty good track record versus Golden State. Pretty good numbers across the board on this line this year. And again, he's cashed in 4 out of 5, including 3 straight games here. This is do or die. The Rockets have their back against the wall. They got to win this game to force a Game 7 back in Houston. If it's going to happen, I think Fred VanVleet's going to have to be one of those primary pieces. This is a former NBA champion. When you look at this Rockets team, VanVleet is really the only one with the experience necessary to help Houston. Now, Dylan Brooks has had his few playoff runs for sure, but a lot of these guys, they're really young. Şengün, Thompson, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason. These guys have no experience in the playoffs whatsoever. Fred VanVleet, when it comes to this, he's a former NBA champion. He's played in some massive playoff games over the years. This is his chance. This is why they paid him. This is why they brought him in, to be that veteran presence, to be the guy that brings that experience to the room. Van Vliet can do that here for Houston, and I think he will here in Game 6. And one more Rockets player prop to throw in there in case you guys weren't curious who I'm siding with in this game. I do think Houston's going to force a Game 7 here back in Houston, although I could be proven completely wrong. But our fourth leg in our 5-leg parlay, we got Ahmed Thompson of the Houston Rockets over 20.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Very juiced, minus 320 over on FanDuel. Data is very solid, though. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 25.2 PRAs per game. Overall this year, a 69. Pause for applause. 69% hit rate on Freaky Friday. You know that's got to mean something there, guys. 51 out of 74 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 25.96 PRAs per game overall this season. So like I said, really good numbers across the board. Even head-to-head versus Golden State, the data is pretty solid. 7 of his last 12 matchups with Golden State, he's cashed the over. That's a 58% hit rate, averaging 22.17 PRAs per game over his last 12 matchups with the Warriors. And again, narrowing it down to just this individual series, this 5-game series thus far, 4 out of 5 games he's cashed the over against Golden State. It's an 80% hit rate, averaging 24.4 PRAs per game across this 5-game series. But again, you see the more important thing, kind of similar to the Van Vliet prop I just showed you guys, the last 3 games, he's been getting better. 3 straight cashes, but you see a nice little pattern of increases there, culminating with a Game 5 performance that was very impressive, 25, 6, and 3 in Game 5. Minutes are solid, averaging about 32 minutes per game, but the last 3 games, you have seen some more minutes from him. He's taking some more shots. You see over the last 3 games, taking at least 12 shots in each of the last 3. Taking more shots, making more shots. The rebound chances have been there, averaging more than 11 rebound chances per game over the last 3. Potential assists are there. Everything is there. The volume is certainly there. He's an athletic freak of nature. And honestly, he's been on demon time when it comes to playing this line on the road. A 76% hit rate on the road this year. But look at the numbers. He's cashed this in 10 straight road games, averaging 29.4 PRAs per game over his last 10 road games. And he's cashed in 18 of his last 20 road games. 18 of his last 19. So you narrow it down a little bit. 18 of his last 19 road games, he's cashed the over. He's been dominating on the road this year. So on the road here, Game 6, season on the line, I like Ahmed Thompson. Give me Iguodala. Little Max Kellerman reference there. Fate of the world on the line. Give me Ahmed Thompson here over 20.5 points, rebounds, assists. That's the 4th leg in our 5-leg parlay. And before I finish up with the final leg of our parlay here, I got to give a special shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Outlier. All the data, all the information you've seen thus far in this video is brought to you guys by Outlier, aka the best sports betting tool on the market. The link is down below in the description. It gives you guys a 7-day free trial to go ahead and check it out for yourself. Guys, do not miss out on this. It's the best sports betting tool on the market. It makes you a better sports bettor, truthfully, with all the information, insights, and everything else it offers. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. And thank you to Outlier for sponsoring today's video. And our 5th and final leg in today's parlay, guys, I got to go with a Warriors player here, Steph Curry, over 8.5 rebounds plus assists, minus 230 over on FanDuel. Solid data here. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 11.2 rebounds plus assists per game over his last 10. Overall this year, a 68% hit rate on the over, including playoffs. 52 out of 76 games, Curry has cashed the over, averaging 10.5 rebounds plus assists per game. So we just basically need him to do his average here, have an average performance, and we have a cash here. And even from a head-to-head perspective, 7 of his last 11 matchups with the Houston Rockets, he's cashed the over. That's a 64% hit rate against Houston, averaging 10.18 rebounds plus assists per game across the last 11 matchups with the Rockets. And again, narrowing it down to the last 5 games, all 5 games in this series, he's cashed in 4 out of 5. That is an 80% hit rate, averaging 11 rebounds plus assists per game over the entirety of this 5-game series with the Rockets. We know the minutes have been there. He's averaging 36.1 minutes per game. It's actually more than that, but Game 5, obviously only playing 23 minutes, definitely brings that number down a bit. Look, the minutes are there, the potential assists. He's averaging about close to 20 potential rebounds / assists per game. Again, 11.2 potential assists, 8.8 rebound chances, so about 20 potential rebounds plus assists per game, which is really, really solid. And again, we only need him to get 9 here. Look, volumes here, potential closeout game in Game 6 at home. I expect Curry to have a pretty big performance here. Now, the Rockets defensively, they are pretty good in terms of not allowing too many rebounds or assists to point guards. That being said, he's cashed in 4 out of 5 games in this series, including, again, 7 of his last 11. So not too concerned here with the defense of Houston. I think Curry's going to have a pretty big game. That's the 5th and final leg of today's parlay. All right, jumping on over to FanDuel. Quick little run through here. We got Şengün over 8.5 rebounds. Van Vliet over 16.5 points plus assists. Jalen Green under 21.5 points plus assists. Steph Curry over 8.5 rebounds plus assists. And Amen Thompson over 20.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. You parlay all 5 together, you got a parlay a plus 393 odds over on FanDuel. Again, we typically with Freaky Friday try to shoot a little bit higher. It's usually big game hunting. This one is not as big from an odds standpoint, but I wasn't honestly willing to adjust any of these lines or take anything out. I like it as it is. Yeah, we sacrifice a little bit of value, but I still think it's very good and valuable to go ahead and tail this parlay. So guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching one more time. Please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. And don't forget to comment Freaky down below, because if this parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. Guys, I'll be back tomorrow to do another NBA player prop video. I believe we have Game 7 of Clippers-Nuggets tomorrow night. Very exciting game. Can't wait for that one and to talk a little bit about that with you guys. Until then, hope you're all winners. Let's go ahead and make some money.